Europe, a continent steeped in history, scarred by conflict, and now, once more, shadowed by the specter of war. The Russian bear, roused from its slumber, has cast a long shadow over the continent with its incursion into Ukraine. The tremors of distant artillery fire echo through the corridors of power in Paris, Berlin, London, and Warsaw. The old continent, so long accustomed to peace, is waking up to a new reality. The brutal realities of 21st century warfare, playing out on the blood-soaked plains of Ukraine, serve as a stark reminder that hard power still holds sway. Europe, for so long content to play the role of peacemaker, now finds itself having to relearn the art of war. The drums of war may not yet be beating, but their ominous rhythm can be felt in the air. Poland, bearing the brunt of Russia's historical aggression and geographic proximity, stands as Europe's eastern bulwark. The ghosts of history whisper warnings in Warsaw, urging vigilance and preparedness. No stranger to invasion, the Polish government has embarked on a massive military modernization program. Polish defense spending, already above the NATO target of 2% of GDP, is set to increase even further. New tanks, artillery pieces, and fighter jets are being procured at a feverish pace. The Polish army, once reliant on outdated Soviet-era equipment, is rapidly transforming into one of the most modern and capable in Europe. But Poland's strategy goes beyond simply bolstering its own defenses. Recognizing the importance of alliances, Warsaw has been actively strengthening ties with NATO allies, particularly the United States. The presence of American troops and military hardware on Polish soil serves as a powerful deterrent to any potential Russian adventurism. Poland, once a victim of its geography, is determined to turn its location into a strategic asset. France, long a champion of European strategic autonomy, is grappling with the challenge of maintaining its global commitments while bolstering its defenses closer to home. The French military, boasting a potent mix of conventional and nuclear forces, remains a formidable force. However, years of overseas deployments and budgetary constraints have taken their toll. President Macron, acutely aware of the shifting geopolitical landscape, has called for a strategic awakening. France is investing heavily in modernizing its armed forces, with a particular focus on cyber capabilities, drones, and artificial intelligence. The French government is also keen on strengthening European defense cooperation, seeing it as a vital complement to NATO. France's strategic calculus is complex. It seeks to maintain its global influence, particularly in Africa and the Middle East, while simultaneously contributing to European security. This balancing act will require deft diplomacy and a significant commitment of resources. Britain, geographically separated from the continent but historically intertwined with its fate, is reasserting its role as a leading military power. Brexit, far from diminishing Britain's commitment to European security, has sharpened its focus. The British government, unshackled from the constraints of EU decision-making, has adopted a more assertive foreign policy. The Integrated Review of Security, Defense, Development and Foreign Policy, published in 2021, outlined Britain's vision of a global Britain with a renewed focus on hard power. The Royal Navy, undergoing a significant modernization program, remains one of the most capable in the world. The British Army, while smaller than in previous eras, is highly professional and well-equipped. Britain, with its global reach and enduring military capabilities, remains a vital player in the European security architecture. Its commitment to NATO and its close relationship with the United States make it a key ally in the face of Russian aggression. Germany, haunted by its past and long wedded to pacifism, is undergoing a profound transformation in its strategic outlook. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has shattered the illusion that peace in Europe is a given. Germany, long criticized for its low defense spending and reluctance to engage in military interventions, is now embracing a more assertive role. Chancellor Scholz's announcement of a €100 billion special fund for the Bundeswehr marked a watershed moment in German post-war history. The German military, long starved of funding and suffering from equipment shortages, is set for a major overhaul. Germany, with its economic might and industrial base, has the potential to become a military heavyweight once more. However, Germany's transformation faces significant challenges. Overcoming decades of pacifist culture will take time and effort. Building a credible military force will require sustained investment and a willingness to make tough choices. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has breathed new life into NATO. The alliance, once dismissed as a relic of the Cold War, has rediscovered its purpose. NATO's eastern flank has been reinforced with troops and equipment. Military exercises have increased in frequency and intensity. The alliance has closed ranks in the face of a common threat. However, challenges remain. Turkey has pursued an independent foreign policy at times. Maintaining unity within NATO will be crucial in deterring further Russian aggression. The nature of warfare is changing. While tanks and fighter jets remain relevant, the 21st century has witnessed the emergence of a new battleground: cyberspace. Cyber attacks, with their ability to cripple critical infrastructure, disrupt economies, and sow discord, have become a weapon of choice for state and non-state actors alike. European nations are investing heavily in cyber defenses. New units dedicated to cyber warfare are being established. Governments are working with the private sector to enhance cyber resilience. The stakes are high. A successful cyber attack could have devastating consequences, potentially even triggering a wider conflict. Cyber warfare, by its very nature, is difficult to defend against. It knows no borders and can be launched from anywhere in the world. Attributing attacks is often difficult, making deterrence a challenge. European nations must work together, sharing intelligence and coordinating their responses to effectively counter the cyber threat. Economic underpinnings, funding the arsenal. Military might does not come cheap. Building and maintaining modern armed forces requires significant financial resources. The economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine has placed a strain on European economies. Governments face difficult choices: how to balance the need for increased defense spending with other pressing demands, such as healthcare, education, and social welfare. Some argue that the current geopolitical situation necessitates a fundamental reassessment of defense budgets. They argue that the 2% of GDP target, long seen as the gold standard, is no longer sufficient in an era of renewed great power competition. Others caution against overspending, arguing that it could undermine economic growth and social cohesion. The debate over defense spending is likely to intensify in the coming years. Finding the right balance between military strength and economic well-being will be one of the defining challenges facing European governments. Public perception, living with the threat. For many Europeans, the specter of war had seemed like a distant memory. Decades of peace and prosperity had lulled them into a sense of complacency. The Russian invasion of Ukraine shattered that illusion. Suddenly, the unthinkable seemed all too real. Public opinion in Europe has shifted dramatically since the outbreak of the war. Support for increased defense spending has surged. There is a growing recognition that freedom is not free and that it must be defended. However, this newfound realism is tempered by a degree of anxiety and uncertainty. European societies must come to terms with the fact that they are living in a more dangerous world. This will require honest conversations about the threats they face, the sacrifices that may be necessary, and the values they are prepared to defend. Historical parallels, lessons from the past. History may not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. As Europe confronts the specter of war once more, it is instructive to look back at the lessons of the past. The two world wars which engulfed the continent in the 20th century serve as stark reminders of the human cost of conflict and the importance of diplomacy, deterrence, and collective security. The Cold War, though bloodless in Europe, provided valuable insights into the dynamics of great power competition. The strategy of containment, combined with a credible military deterrent, ultimately succeeded in containing Soviet expansionism. However, it also came at a cost, dividing Europe and fueling an arms race that had the potential to end in nuclear annihilation. The lessons of history are clear: appeasement only emboldens aggressors. Strength, both military and economic, is essential for deterrence. Alliances matter, but they must be based on shared values and a willingness to act decisively. Europe's crucible, towards an uncertain future. Europe stands at a crossroads. The post-Cold War era, characterized by peace and prosperity, is over. The continent faces a future fraught with uncertainty and danger. The Russian bear, wounded but not defeated, will continue to pose a threat to European security. The rise of China, with its growing economic and military might, presents both opportunities and challenges. The choices Europe makes in the coming years will have profound implications for its future. Will it rise to the challenge, forging a new sense of unity and purpose? Or will it succumb to division and complacency, becoming a pawn in a new great game played by others? The stakes are high. The future of Europe and indeed the world may well depend on the answers to these questions.